close for Ewers. Pressure comes. Sawyer knocked it out and picks it up. Jack Sawyer headed down the sidelines. Ohio State scoop and score and dagger from 82 yards.
To give Notre Dame the lead in the final seconds. 41-yard attempt. Snap and hold are good. The kick is good!
All right, folks, welcome back to the TNT show. We're back live again. Not completely in person, like how we want to be, but like we said, we'll get this done by any means for y'all. So, just to start off, we got some news regarding TikTok. I'm gonna go ahead and let Tyler cover that real quick for y'all.
Yeah, obviously everybody's seen that, TikTok's probably going to get banned tomorrow. Supposedly going to get banned anyway. So we just want to say, we appreciate, if it does, we appreciate everybody that has followed, liked, commented, all that stuff, that definitely is not going unnoticed. We are going to continue, if it gets banned, we are going to continue to try to do stuff like this a little bit more often if possible. Definitely going to post more on our Facebook page, and we may look at making something else, kind of like what we do on TikTok, maybe on Instagram, or doing YouTube Shorts or something like that. But yeah, as of right now, TikTok is still up and going, so as long as that's still up and going, we will continue to post and go live on that until it stops, or however you want to look at it. But yeah, we will put our Facebook page and YouTube thing at the end of this video. So if you do want to follow and watch our lives and stuff like that, that's where you'll find us. So yeah, that's all I got on that.
Unfortunate news. Hopefully it doesn't play out like that. I think everybody who has TikTok is making something or some kind of earning or living off of that will, obviously be affected in some kind of way, shape, form, or fashion. So unfortunate, but I mean, that's the way these things go a lot of times. I mean, you've seen a lot of apps like that kind of get thrown by the wayside at some point. But we won't dig too deep into that. Let's just go ahead and jump off into this episode. So we got the national championship game coming up on Monday. Should be pretty interesting. You got a very solid defense in Notre Dame, and you got one of the highest scoring the highest scoring offense in the playoffs in Ohio State. So, we're just gonna talk about both teams, pretty much how they've been in the playoffs, and different keys and different things they can do to ensure they come home with that national championship trophy. So, first up, we can just start off with Notre Dame. Solid team. Offense isn't gonna wow you with 40 points a game, but their defense is definitely the talking point for them.
Yeah, their defense is really good. We talked their path to the playoffs, which I hate that we have to put it like this, but it seems like it's always something when somebody gets beat. Indiana, supposedly their starting quarterback, had a torn ACL. So Georgia was out without their starting quarterback in Carson Beck. But they did beat a healthy Penn State team. Did Penn State kind of sell at the end? Absolutely. Why are you throwing the ball down the field? You're tied. Why are you trying to force plays when you couldn't throw the ball all game? So
Yeah,
that's
their
Penn State's
receivers.
fault. That's Penn State's fault. So I
Yeah, the
see the
receivers had.
narrative of James Franklin not being able to win big games for stuff like that.
It makes sense. I mean, because as a coach, your receivers don't have any catches
Yeah,
at all
you
in
were
the game
running.
up to
You
that
were
point.
kind of running the ball.
Yeah, pretty
Why
much.
are you? Why are you attacking downfield? Because Notre Dame does have a pretty good defense. Yeah, they gave up some points to some teams, but in the playoffs, I mean, the most they've given up is 24, and that was to Penn State. So they definitely got their work cut out for them Monday. That's going to be for sure. Because Penn State, or I mean, I'm sorry, Ohio State is going to attack them at every level, throwing,
Yeah,
throwing the ball, running the ball. They also have a really good defense. I mean, the most points they gave up was 21 to Oregon, and that was kind of at just, we'll let you score a few times. I
yeah.
mean,
They. I mean,
they held Texas to 14 points. Realistically, they scored 21. The scoop and score at the end, that definitely put the nail in the coffin for sure.
yeah.
Um,
Um.
Obviously, what they did to Oregon was, I mean, they beat them by 20 points. Also, beat Tennessee by 20 points. So, looking at it based on the last 3 games, obviously Ohio State has the edge.
Yeah, I mean, because you think about it, like the teams that you just said. I mean, you got Texas, Oregon, Tennessee,
Yeah,
and all three of them have probably top 10 defenses this year. So
yeah,
you're coming out here and scoring 40 points on two of the better defenses in the country this year. And
yeah,
then
for sure.
you hold Texas's offense and you
To
still
14, yeah,
score. Yeah, offensively you still scored 21 points on them, which was a lot more than a lot of other teams have done this season. So,
yeah.
um, I mean, as far as the scoop and score goes,
That was
that
just
was
an
just a tough
unfortunate play.
situation.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was tough. I mean,
because if
you're
they
up
scored
because
there, the game was tied. They
yeah,
were
you're
down
basically
on the first thing, like on the inside the 20.
yeah. So I mean that was unfortunate. You hate to see that, but I mean the way the play developed, I mean his right tackle, Jack Sawyer got by the right tackle. Quinn never really saw him coming, and it was a wrap after that. I mean Jack Sawyer was a pretty sneaky, athletic guy. He picked the ball up and he was gone.
Yeah, for sure.
Um,
The narrative is going to be if Ohio State wins. Well, of course they should win. They have a $20 million roster.
yeah,
But you can't really argue that because I mean everybody's paying people now. So yes, Ohio State did pay a lot of players, but their defense not really. They have a lot of veteran guys that I mean, yeah, they paid a couple defensive players, but I mean that's just how the cookie crumbles nowadays. So,
yeah.
and it shows. I mean, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Look at Florida State, for example. They paid in all those players to come, and they won like 2 games.
Yeah,
Now,
that was
if they get beat, you know, again, you paid all this money to get to the national championship and to fold. So it's a double-edged sword.
yeah, you took the words right out of my mouth. I mean, either way, I mean, if they win, well, yeah, they were supposed to, but if they lose, it's like now we're poking fun at you because you paid $20 million for this roster. Y'all still got all the way here just to lose
Yeah.
or choke or whatever. I mean, if you look at like in Notre Dame's path, like you touched on, I mean, they got Indiana in the first round, and after they thumped them, which honestly, I think either one of those teams could have thumped the other. You know, it
I
just
mean,
Notre Dame ended up
technically,
thumping.
looking at the last 5 games, Ohio State played Indiana, beat them 38-15. I mean, Notre Dame beat them 27-17. That's not that much of a difference, 10 points, but
Yeah, I mean, it probably could have been worse in all honesty, but the way Notre Dame plays, they don't
yeah,
really just look to score a bunch of points. They just look
yeah.
to,
I mean, they
play.
scored 50 against Army, Navy, and USC. So, but yeah, I mean, they're just playing defense. The only thing that I'm a little concerned about with Notre Dame, can they score? Can they score with Ohio State if it comes down to that? And honestly, I don't know.
Uh, yeah, no,
I
I agree
mean,
with you.
realistically, if the game would have went into overtime, do you think Notre Dame still would have won against Penn State? Because Penn State could have just took a knee instead of doing what they were doing.
Yeah, I mean, overtime is I think overtime would have been a solid 50-50. I mean, given the way the game went up to that point, because I thought a healthy Penn State team was just going to come out there and dominate, and they really didn't.
No, Notre Dame's defense is too good for that.
Yeah, so
The only thing, so if I'm Notre Dame, the first thing I'm doing is I'm going to watch the Michigan tape and I'm going to see what kind of coverage Texas was running on Jeremiah Smith. They're gonna score. They're gonna score regardless. But you gotta pick one. Either you gotta stop the run or you gotta double team Jeremiah Smith or just you gotta pick one. Either
well,
you gotta
I
sell out
mean,
to stop the run or
if you
you just
double Jeremiah Smith, you still got Egbuka and
that's what I'm saying. You
Cardell
gotta
Tate.
pick one. That's what I'm saying. You gotta pick one. Either you gotta sell out to stop the pass or sell out to stop the run. Because either way, they're gonna score at least 20 points, probably, give or take. I'd say at least 20.
I think right off the bat, you could easily say that you would expect Ohio State to come out here and just dominate
They're gonna
Notre
come
Dame.
out and try to punch. If I'm Ohio State, my game plan is to come out and punch Notre Dame right in the mouth. Exactly what they did against Oregon. Come out slinging it. I mean, within a matter of seconds, it seemed like Ohio State was up 21-0. Literally, their
Yeah,
first 3 drives were touchdowns.
Jeremiah Smith ended that game with what almost 200 yards
Yeah,
receiving, and
it was
he had that in like a half.
yeah, it was insane. They didn't really have to do much after that because Oregon couldn't do anything.
So, do I
But
expect him to do the same thing against Notre Dame? I mean, I don't think so, but that's just because of how good their defense actually is.
yeah, I will say their defense is good. I'm just worried. I would be a little bit worried about Notre Dame. Like if they can't score, their defense is only going to be able to hang in there for so long.
Yeah.
They're gonna have
Um.
to. They're gonna have to score probably 30, at least 30 to beat them. Which
Yeah.
they did. They've scored. They scored 27 against Indiana. They scored 23 against Georgia and scored 27 against Penn State. So they can score.
I
It's
mean,
just can they keep Ohio State from scoring? That is the biggest question.
if you don't score, if you don't score 30, if you don't score 30, that means you have to keep Ohio State under 20.
Yeah.
Is that realistic? I think
Yeah.
so. Yeah.
I mean Michigan did it. And Michigan did not have a good offense at all. They scored 13, but they held
Well,
Ohio State to 10 points.
they also took a bunch of possessions away from Ohio
Yeah,
State too.
Ohio
You got to
State
think
did
about
turn the ball over a bunch too.
yeah, time of possession. You got to factor in time of possession. I mean, Michigan held the ball for a really long time, and that's one way you stop a high scoring team. You have to possess the ball. You have
Yeah,
to,
you got to keep it
keep
away
the
from them.
chains moving. Yeah, play field position, keep the chains moving.
I just don't know if Notre Dame's offense is gonna. I don't know if they're just gonna line up and just run it down Ohio State's throat. I don't know if they're gonna be able to do that.
Yeah, I think that's probably gonna be tough to. I think that'll be tough to do.
But Notre Dame makes plays passing, but it's not like they're gonna tear you apart. They're gonna come out running the ball.
Yeah, they're for sure a run first team. I mean, you got a mobile quarterback with Riley Leonard. They run him a lot.
Yeah.
You got two really solid running backs,
Hmm.
and their receivers are good, but they're a run first team, so they're gonna try to impose themselves on the ground and
The
open up
thing
the
I'm worried
passing
about Notre Dame wise, they're banged up offensively. Their left tackle isn't playing.
game. Yeah, that's gonna be tough.
Um, I know their running back. One of them is dealing with a knee injury, which he played in the Penn State game. But still, I mean, yeah, Notre Dame's got two good running backs, but then we go to the other side, and you're saying the exact same thing. I mean, Travion Henderson and Quinshon Judkins are, I mean, elite backs.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, if you looked at it on paper, you would assume, again, like I said, Ohio State clearly has the nod in almost
Honestly, if
every
you wanted my
position.
honest opinion, this game shouldn't be close.
That's what I said.
They
Um,
honestly might beat Notre Dame 40-20, maybe.
I said it could end up being like I said it
I
could end
don't.
up
I
being
don't
like
think it'll get out of hand like a Georgia TCU game. I don't think that'll. I mean, it could because Ohio
could
State can score.
it could.
Notre Dame cannot let that happen. They
Yeah, no,
can't
I
let
mean,
it get away from them.
because then it'll be the same
If
conversation.
if Notre Dame gets down 2 touchdowns, it's probably a wrap. To be honest, I
Yeah,
don't know
no,
if they're going to
I
be able to
agree.
score enough to. I
Yeah,
don't
because
know if they're going to. They're not built to come back. Not like that.
that's what I was going to say. Their offense isn't really built to play in a game where you have to come back. I mean, in all of their games outside of Northern Illinois, they've pretty much dominated the game and maintained the lead.
Or
And
kept it close. Or kept it close.
yeah, so I don't know.
This is a big
Um,
game for Notre Dame. I feel like this means more to Notre Dame than it does for Ohio State because obviously, Ohio State's been here before.
yeah, that's true. But I
I
still
just
think it's big for both. I mean,
It's
obviously
big
with
for
Ohio
both.
State,
It's ironic that the first ever college football playoff, Ohio State won it, and now we're in the first ever 12-team playoff, and now Ohio State's playing for it. That's kind of ironic,
yeah. I mean,
but they haven't won it since then
yeah,
either.
but they've been to the playoffs like a lot.
Yeah, I
They
mean they're
come
a
up
good team.
short. Yeah, so
Now, one thing I've seen about Notre Dame is them being independent. Like how, honestly, they're pretty much, I wouldn't say they're guaranteed a spot, but Notre Dame is kind of one of those teams that they're always going to get that nod. Like, okay, if they lost 2 games, they probably still would be sitting right where we are.
yeah, I mean, if you really think about it, they're
But
technically
they don't have to
guaranteed.
worry about, oh, well, now we got to play a conference champion. They don't have to worry about that. And people are saying that that's not fair because, you know, I mean, Georgia still went, but Texas had to play Georgia again in the championship game. Notre Dame didn't play in a championship game. If they didn't play in a championship game, Carson Beck never would have got hurt.
That is true, but I mean that's the way football goes. I mean,
So I kind of understand if Notre Dame needs to play for a conference because, these other teams are playing for a conference championship. Everybody played for a conference championship except for Notre Dame. They were
that is
sitting at
true.
home
Well.
watching.
Hold on. No, because Tennessee didn't play for a conference
No,
championship.
that's what I'm saying. Well, what I'm saying is like they could have. You know what I mean? They could have. Notre
Oh, you
Dame,
mean
that
like
wasn't
they?
even an option.
Yeah, they like could have had the extra game, but they didn't. So
Yeah,
they
yeah,
really
that's what
weren't.
I'm saying. Like they had.
Okay, I got you. I got
You
you.
see what I'm saying? Like they
Yeah, but
had. Like Tennessee could have win. They just didn't. Like they play in the SEC. They play in a conference. Notre Dame plays independent, so they didn't
honestly,
play in the conference. Oh,
like I said,
here's a prime example. Clemson beat SMU for them to get in to the college football playoffs. That meant something. Notre Dame was just kind of sitting there. Okay, that didn't matter
yeah,
because
I mean for me,
they wrapped up the season playing USC, which they struggled. They had to score 50 points to beat USC.
yeah, they had two pick sixes.
So, but at the end of the day, if they were in the ACC, we might be sitting here a little bit different because they would
Well,
have
hold on.
played.
Here's my point though. I'm glad you said the ACC because if you go and look at their schedule, it's majority ACC opponents.
That's
The
what I'm
only
saying. Like
difference
they should have
is
played. They would have played SMU, and Clemson would have never
exactly,
been in the. Clemson wouldn't have been in the conversation,
exactly.
and unfortunately, somebody else would have got put in
Alabama would have made the playoffs.
and probably would have got blown out. But you don't know. You don't know. There's a lot of different circumstances that you really don't know because they would have played. Who did Clemson play? My mind went blank. Who'd they play?
So if Alabama would have sat at the spot that they were currently at, they would have ended up playing Penn State.
Okay, yeah, they would have got beat 35-10.
We don't know that.
But yeah, you don't know. See, that's what I'm saying. Like Notre Dame, is it fair? No. But Notre Dame has always been independent, so it's hard to tell them, well, you got to beat one. No, because they've been independent for for a long time. I don't know, however they've been independent. But
Yeah, I mean we've seen all types of changes in the college play in the college format. So
but on the opposite side, Notre Dame could be on the outside looking in, and they're not going to get the nod because, well, you're not in a conference. It's you know
well, for them, it's as long as they win enough games, they can get in. But since they're independent, they can never get a 1 through 4.
Yeah,
So
they'll never get the 1 through 4 seed. Which,
I
hey,
also saw
honestly,
too.
honestly,
It's not a
there's
bad
not a
thing.
1 through 4 seed sitting here,
Exactly.
so that didn't mean nothing.
Well, I saw too. They said they weren't gonna even think about changing the format for the playoff. So it's probably gonna stay the same for a little while until they do decide to switch it up. So for
So
everybody
yeah,
who's upset, I mean, you just kind of, unfortunately, the committee just said, "Well, I'm sorry, you got to deal with it for however long until we say so."
so based on everything that we've looked at, all the numbers, who are you picking? Who you leaning with?
I already told you I got Ohio State by at least 3 scores.
3 scores. Interesting.
I say at least three.
I'm going underdog. I'm going to go Notre Dame. I feel like they're going to come to play. The only part that I'm a little concerned is if they can't score enough. But
No, you can not score enough and still win. The defense just really has to
I don't know if they're going
limit.
to be able to stop them.
Ohio State. I mean, not Ohio State, Michigan did, and honestly, Michigan's defense was still good even with the injuries that they had. So
Because if you look at it, aside from Georgia, they did give up 17 to Indiana with a quarterback that had a torn ACL,
yeah,
and they gave up 24 to Penn State. And Ohio State struggled with Penn State, so they only let Penn State score 13. They scored 20. So
Yeah. So I mean, that's the biggest difference. Where they scored 20, they held Penn State to 13, and that
so
game wasn't a long time ago. That game was relatively like what, a few weeks ago.
yeah, no, in November,
Yeah.
November
So
2nd, yeah.
honestly, by this point, I think teams have peaked. That's what Ryan Day said. Ryan Day said the playoffs gave his team an opportunity to peak, which I thought that was more so him just talking because at the end of the season, y'all were pretty much in peak form and y'all
Yeah,
still lost to Michigan.
lost to Michigan, and then everybody was like, "Well, here we go again."
But see, then I think he just went on a rampage after that. He really got those guys to like lock in after that loss to Michigan. And in the playoffs, you've seen they've responded. I mean, they've come out and dominated teams.
The lowest ticket price is $2,000 a piece for this game.
Man,
Jesus. I mean,
yeah, that's a
yeah, I mean,
mortgage
you could
right
go
there.
up here and look at Notre Dame's schedule, and you're like, man, they didn't play anybody all year. They played 3 ranked teams till they got to the playoffs. Sure, they handled business, but who's to say if Indiana's quarterback would have been healthy? Who's to say Carson Beck played that they beat Georgia? Penn State, they just folded. They cost themselves the game. But hey, hats off to Notre Dame. They pulled it off, played defense, and made a big play to put the game away. I'm not going to take anything away from Notre Dame. So that's who I'm picking. That's my underdog. I'm going to take Notre Dame. I think that they've got to get after Will Howard because under duress, he can make a lot of. That's what they need. They need him to play bad. If he comes out lighting them up, I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't think Notre Dame can keep up with them. But Notre Dame has to come out and punch Ohio State in the mouth and play physical. They've got to keep the ball as long as if they go 3 and out a bunch, their defense is going to get tired. It is what it is.
Yeah. On my side, for my pick, I say Ohio State really just needs to get Jeremiah Smith back involved in this game. Um, Obviously, Texas has the Jim Thorpe Award winner, so obviously he was probably going to have him contained
Yeah,
going
he
into the
had him
game.
locked
But
down the whole time probably.
yeah, so now
But
you
you locked
basically
him down, but that opened up the doors for Tate,
everybody else.
Abuka, the run game.
Yeah, so um,
This is for all the marbles. So I would expect Ohio State. They're going to throw and same goes for Notre Dame. They're going to throw everything they can at each other. I would not be surprised if you've seen fakes or you've seen a lot of going for. I wouldn't say a lot of going for it, but I would not be surprised if Notre Dame goes for it quite a few times because you're. It's going to be hard to stop Ohio State scoring. I'll just say that. From what I've seen in the last 3 games, aside from Texas, which they do have a really good defense, you just got to keep the ball and not make mistakes. And it's like
yeah.
I said, if Notre Dame gets down 2 scores, it's probably over with, if you wanted me to be honest. But I'm still going to rock with the underdog and Notre Dame. Their coach, they got a good coach. And Ryan Day has been known to choke in big games. So,
So speaking of coaches, would you agree that Ryan Day needs this championship more than Marcus Freeman does?
yeah,
Not
because
team.
at this point, he can't win the big games.
Yeah,
You got beat by a sorry Michigan team. They were god awful, and you scored 10 points. Michigan was
yeah,
trash.
yeah.
No offense to Michigan fans, but it's true. You
No, it's
came out
true. It
there and
is.
you laid an egg.
Yep.
He can't beat Michigan. Now, if he wins the national championship, the argument is going to be, well, yeah, you won the national championship, but you had to pay $20 million to win it. But if he doesn't win it, I don't think he'll get fired. That would be stupid.
Yeah,
But
no, he won't get fired, but I just think for him, he probably needs a championship more because, like you said, he already has a knock on him that he can't win big games. I mean, he's made it to the national championship.
same thing's going to go for Notre Dame. Same thing's going to go for them. They get
Well,
here
no, no,
every
no, no.
time.
But if you think about it, this is Marcus Freeman's second year as the coach. And in his second
Yeah,
year as the
well,
coach, he made it to the national championship. So I feel like he gets a little more leeway because he hasn't been that far into his coaching career.
maybe. I will say every time Notre Dame gets in the spotlight, we know what happens. They get blown
Of
out.
course. So,
If Notre Dame gets blown out, like you're saying, they get beat by 3 touchdowns. Okay, then they may need to consider playing in a conference and at least kind of halfway showing that they can compete. Which, if they get blown out, okay, you could argue, okay, well, they beat a backup quarterback Georgia team. They beat a Indiana with a banged up quarterback. They beat teams with no quarterbacks, and maybe their defense was just good enough to beat Penn State. Penn State made a mistake at the end of the game that cost them the game.
yeah, when you throw a pick in your basically your own territory,
Yeah,
you
and
basically selling yourself.
then they kicked the field goal to beat them. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of arguments that you're going to make. We could sit here and go about it all day. But yeah, I think there's a lot riding for both teams. To be honest, I really think that there is. Either way you slice it, both teams could benefit and are going to get a lot of hate if they get beat. It is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, Notre Dame is looking to change I guess, their legacy outlook because in the last, what, 10
They've
years or
been here.
so?
They've been here just as many times as Ohio State. To be honest, not as many times, but in the last couple of years, Notre Dame has been in this spot, and they got blown out. It's been a while since they've been in the national championship. But what happened last time they were here? Alabama
Blowed out.
dog walked them.
Yeah, so I think that's what's riding on the game for them now. For Ohio State, I mean,
It's the big
it's
game
just,
atmosphere. Can we
it's
win?
that,
Can we win it all?
yeah, it's that, because in a lot of the games, they come up short. When they made it to the national championship, they got blowed out. Now, albeit that Alabama team was very good, they still got blowed out. They
Yeah,
came up short against Clemson. They came up short against Georgia, which, I mean, in that game, you could credit the fact that Marvin Harrison the Jr. got hurt.
yep.
But, not to backtrack too much on that, but that's pretty much what is on the line for both teams as far as, the points that we get.
Yeah, I mean it's like I said. It means a lot for both. It's kind of hard to say who it means more to, but either way it goes, whoever loses, they're gonna get hate no matter what.
Yeah, yeah. Which, I mean, that's
But
football for you. I mean,
yeah, that's the way the cookie crumbles. But yeah, that's pretty much all I got for this one. This little
yeah,
championship episode.
yeah. That pretty much wraps up our national championship preview. You know, comment who you think is
Yep.
gonna win.
After Monday, college football is over till September. Man, that's crazy. We were sitting here talking. Seems like yesterday that it just started. Now it's over.
Yep. It'll fly by though. It'll be back before we know it.
So, but yeah, that's pretty much all I got. Anything else that you want to add?
No, I think that's pretty much everything. I mean, as far as college football goes, I think the next big thing we'll end up doing for that is, just taking a look around. We'll probably do like maybe like a top 10 for like spring, just like a top 10, like an early top 10, something like that, to where or maybe just preview our two teams or something. We'll throw something together for that.
Yeah, because
Um,
college football, it's not like the NFL. There are big news now, especially with the transfer portal and all that stuff that happens. But yeah, been a great college football season. I was not expecting to be sitting here watching Ohio State Notre Dame, but like you said, this 12-team playoff, it's been an interesting first year. So ready to see what happens next year and how if we're seeing different teams.
yeah. I think majority wise, like obviously way too early prediction. But I think majority wise, we'll see a lot of a good amount of the same teams that are probably
Yeah,
going to be
you're
in
going to see the same teams over and over and over, but it's like the Pac-12 and people like that you might see a little bit different teams. But we'll save that for another time too.
Yeah, so that pretty much does it for us here on this episode. So, like Tyler said, it's been a great college football season. Uh, look forward to next season, and we'll catch y'all on the next episode.